right, here we're going to talk about the movie Bad Taste. 1987's Bad Taste, Lee. Had you seen it before?
You know what else is bad? I don't know. No, I had not.
Oh, so
Never
Peter
seen
Jackson is rolling over in his grave. He's not dead. Yeah, this is like a classic.
It's a classic. No, I think we should take this kid and reward him with a lucrative film career. If only there was justice in the world. This is by far the best no-budget, whatever film we've ever seen, and we're just going to say that for the next hour approximately.
It's pretty great. It's
got the
everything
gems.
that it is. Yeah.
You know when we always say hey, you don't have anything, but you could just sit there and keep trying to make this, or you could film through the guy's legs or something, do those little things. He does all the things.
Yeah,
he's the man.
This is like a testament to what a movie can be done on weekends with your friends.
No excuses.
Yeah. So if
kids.
you've seen it or don't care, follow us over to the spoilers, and if not, pull out now.
If you need a place to rent content, you better listen. We're Cannibal Video and we eat the competition.
All right, so here we are for the spoilers of Bad Taste. Lee, let me hear them spoiler-filled thoughts.
A lot of things happened in the movie. It's
true.
One after the other.
It's a movie that you can definitely tell what it is.
Yeah.
It's a movie that was filmed without a plot in mind. They just set aside each week. They're like, okay, and this will be cool. Let's do that. And you can see how it evolves, how characters get added, how things go. How you can clearly go, oh, it's going to be probably this short, and now it is this feature.
Yeah, you can tell there's set pieces and places and locations and things that all kind of happen when they happen. Yeah. I kind of tuned it out towards the end when some of the action-y stuff happens. But I think a lot of the shooting,
the real 80s action,
Yeah, because to me, I always thought of this like a horror goofy, and now it's and then I'm oh, it's like a sci-fi alien horror goofy gore fest.
I'm born again.
And then when it became an action thing,
low budget Commando,
because it does remind you of those best of the worst movies where they're just we got a rich guy, he let us film in his backyard, and there's a statue and there's a dude running, and you're shooting, everyone has guns all of a sudden, and you're this is kind of. They do some stuff with it. They make it funny and everything, but that was the low point for me. So then when it ends and it's all space and goofy, I got back into it. This was amazing. So there's a little dip for me in the middle, but
I could have used some sci-fi weaponry. If the bad guys wouldn't have had AK-47s, that might have done something, or if they would have in-world explained that a little bit. Because I don't think New Zealand, I don't even think there's guns there. Obviously there's guns everywhere, but I don't and they made these guns for the movie, but I don't think that would be something easy to acquire.
No, they're civilized people. They're allowed to have guns there, yeah. One of the borderline countries. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? These aliens took over a very small, village. What they say, population 75 or something crazy.
The place is completely deserted. They're probably all dead. That's at least 75 people.
It's a tiny village.
Yeah, small. I don't think there just would have been AK-47s in the town.
A whole village fits inside of some boxes and stuff. You're the boxes. Yeah.
Isn't it amazing how you could fit a whole town of humans into a few cardboard boxes?
I like that too. They're aliens, and we're using brown, corrugated boxes to store and ship our human cargo.
Yeah, there's a few things like that. I forget them now, but there's funny things where you're well, that's hilarious. Like the car that he drives, that's a tourist wagon, but a spy. It has the Beatles, but they're Chinese in the front as a facade, and he's up driving somewhere. Where I'm is this an auto rickshaw? What is this?
I believe that's a hospital car for wheelchairs. When you you know how he's up in that little top bit.
Yeah.
I think your wheelchair would roll up and you'd be there.
Oh,
I don't know, something.
I assumed it was a goofy point of interest tourist thing where a dude could drive you around and there'd be a funny sense. And then they were let's put it is the Beatles, right?
Oh,
Did
that's
I make
100%
that? Okay, I was gonna say
Beatles.
I said that and you didn't even flinch and you're that's normal. What do you mean Beatles in the car? I'm what? When you see it in the movie, it just comes out of nowhere, right? He's I'll take this car now, right? It's a totally crazy thing.
Am I wrong? What? Is that car hidden with jungle leaves and he pulls it out like it had been there ready for them the whole time?
And that's their spy mobile, right? Is that the car that he gets the chainsaw out of, or am I also continuity is not the movie's strong suit.
I won't say.
I'm not going to say
yes.
whatever, but
I won't say
general.
I remember which one they got the chance out of, but I do love that it's just a calculator in a wooden box.
Yeah. No, and like that's the spirit of it. At no point do you go, it's paper mache, a paper mache. You don't say that because you just go like, well, everything is fake. It's great. It's a fake, wonderful world of goop.
Yeah, no, it is like a low budget masterpiece in quotes. Like that's like what you want when you're watching a low budget movie.
Because one of the problems when people don't have like money, like we made a movie, and by the end of that week, like we got a lot better at it. And I wish, and we could have started another movie and been that good. But we were like, wait, we have to edit this one first, right? So like, one of the biggest issues with low budget stuff is like consistency and like, oh, you could have made that much better if you just had 5 minutes to like plan it or whatever. And this feels like they did all those things because the whole time it makes sense. It feels the same the whole time to me. Like different things happen, but you can tell the same person with the same sense of humor, with the same like, okay, whatever, and the way of filming, having the continuity. I was never like, well, where are they now? This is bullshit. I was always like, okay, this makes sense in its own way, right? Yeah. It's very crazy.
Yeah, there's only one weird like the guy with the glasses in like the 70s like sports coat type of thing.
Doctor
Who gets cooked in the soup.
Oh, that guy, the other guy. Reginald Collector.
I think he's the one. I read that he got like married in the middle of it because they filmed it literally over the course of like 4 years on the weekends. And he got married in the middle to like a devout Christian who said like you can't be a part of that, and like they wrote him out, and then he got divorced and they wrote him back in. And because of how long it was filming, you could do that. Because like by the end, like we don't lose any of our core cast. Like even the dude who gets like his brain put out the back of his head, he's like still alive at the end. He's actually going to the home planet. I'm gonna get you.
He's gonna go take care of things. Yeah. I think his scarf is a Doctor Who reference, by the way. I don't know.
They make I think there's a Doctor Who reference.
There's some sort of reference in there.
It looks like a Harry Potter scarf too to me.
Well, it does now to us.
But
But yes.
I think they say something like, "Oh, what did they come down in a telephone booth or something?"
Yeah.
And I'm like,
"Go in a police box." Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
You ought to have a look around. If these are aliens, they might have parked a spaceship somewhere around here.
They might have come in a telephone box.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's got a goofy, because it's not even Australia, it's another layer. So they're making cultural references really early on because it's just like, oh, we're doing a movie, I guess. And then he says like, I'll just ring out, what does he call them? His sliders? His like shoes or something? I was like, ooh, that's a spicy, because it's not trainers. It's another level. I'm like, oh, you have new peppery slang.
I got my Adidas.
It's awesome. Yeah.
I think they're
Nike.
Like, I believe, and I didn't read anything that definitely confirms this, but as I would imagine, it is shot in order. And
you've been acting like like it was.
Well, but, I know they filmed it weekend to weekend,
yeah,
and like just decided as they went, which to me would probably lead to filming it in order. Because you'd be like, okay, then what happened next? What happened next? Yeah. Toward the end of the filming, they were infused with money from the New Zealand government, like the film festival, whatever, and that's I think how we get the miniature in space.
10 minutes. Shit.
We get more of the cool stuff, and all like the actual masks and latex shit shows up.
That's the end of those weekend cowboys. Let's go home.
Some cool shots.
They might have gone back to do pickups for some of the close things and weird things, because the style is really cool. But yeah, there's certain moments. Because it's okay. 4 years. I didn't do any research because I'm like, I just want to go in and talk about the movie.
I think it was 4 years.
Well, no, but just the idea that it's like that long, because 4 months is a long time to spend with your friends making a movie on the weekends. But yes, this is like nice. Yeah.
Revenue for lunch.
And like I feel like that's like the same thing you said, where like you get better as you go. Like, while I think the tonality is the same about the whole movie. Like Peter Jackson is a guy that had a vision and like actually made the thing he wanted to do. I love his cameo in this. It's actually more than a cameo. He's a starring role.
He's the star, right?
Well, not the star.
A star.
He vomits some green shit.
Yeah.
He has a poke in the foot. He does some stuff.
It took me a minute where I'm like, is that the Peter Jackson? And then I'm like, that can't be him. There's too much or whatever. And then, oh my God, because like this is one of those things where like I was so nervous when he has his hand in the car, like a door thing or whatever. Like, I know it's probably not stuck in there for real, and that's the thing, but it still was so, I'm like, this is actually a very dangerous stunt. Like, this looks so tame, like it's nothing, but like, there's no like safety coordinator. He's just got his hand in a car, in the window, like this, while it's driving, and I'm like, only the director would be willing to do this insane thing. Running next to a car with no insurance, right? There's nothing.
Well, in the same, no, definitely not.
Yeah.
No filming insurance anyway. The car probably had insurance. Like it being hung upside down by your leg. I'm sure they did some trickery with the angle of that camera,
it's not
but
as
that's
steep
still
as you would think,
but that's still him, and that's kind of stuff that makes sense. Like when we were planning big stunts with hanging upside down, pulling like that was gonna be me.
Of course.
Because I wouldn't make someone else do that shit.
We can't.
Exactly.
I can't have that on my conscience. Killing a man.
I remember as a kid, you'd like skateboard alongside someone's car, like holding
Yeah.
onto the side, and I remember hitting a pothole and my skateboard ripping out from under me, and we're doing like 40, and I'm now just hanging onto the goddamn window. I would love to have had that on camera.
I remember other people doing things like that and me saying, that's stupid, I'm not doing that. But that's my style, what are you gonna do?
So a shot that I think might have been filmed later on is like the opening shot. There's like a mysterious guy who calls the boys on the phone.
These invaders started killing us.
Hold on, sir. I'll connect you with the Department of Internal
Every
Affairs.
time they're after me,
Hello?
And he has like interchangeable hands, I want to
So
say, for
fucking
like
good.
typing or whatever.
Yeah.
It looks like it's like a weird machine that is a human finger, but it's and then it cuts out and it's like, oh, that's a dude.
I thought, okay, that's a good, like the style or whatever, right? Because, yeah, it opens, I thought he called another guy and that guy had something else going on. Because, okay, so one guy's like Captain Hook, but the hook is just like a stick with a finger on the end.
Yeah.
And he's pressing buttons with it. I thought he calls a different guy who then takes a like wax hand with like a candlestick sticking out
No,
of it.
that's him again, I think.
Okay.
I think it cuts back to him and there's a cigarette band-aided to that one finger.
I think this is a job for real men.
And he's smoking it, and with
Okay.
another fake hand that's a lighter, I think
Yeah.
he lights it. But I'm like, did both of his hands, are they fake?
No, that's why I thought like on his other good hand, it was like band-aided onto it or something, and it was crazy. But listen, it's crazy, and it's very funny that he says, because there's this clip from like an old video game or something. We're not gonna be able to find it, but I have this thing in my head of like, don't make me get the boys.
That is a cunt move.
There's some sort of thing, I'm send the boys out on you, or whatever. The boys, and then like the boys came out, and I was like, well, now I can't, now I have to erase that memory like so many others. Just ravaged my mind of like things I'll never find ever again, because he can't find it now, because he just find what's his name and what's her name.
Yeah.
The point is, it's so funny that on his phone it just says, the boys, let me call the boys.
I love that.
I'm like, oh shit.
So it's a physical phone,
Yeah.
and like that's taking up one of his whole spaces. So like these people are his go-to, but they
Yes.
also don't feel like they're anyone's boys.
That's the joke. That's the point.
Yes.
We have to call the boys.
And
like,
what are they, the SAS or something? They're like the space agency.
the boys are literally like our primary, first or last, whatever you want to say, line of defense between intergalactic war, and it's just a couple of douchebags. They're like, you what now? All right, and they go down the thing like,
yeah,
and that's hilarious.
In my mind, they're just like
Yes.
the good old boys.
The
and
boys.
It's like, oh yeah, just like dudes that will like. I got 6 dudes from the bar. I said, I need you to like save us from aliens. They're like,
Yeah.
all right. Can I have a gun?
Don't ask questions.
Yeah.
Go take care of
Because
it.
most of their approach doesn't feel tactical. It's just,
No.
I'm like, hey, he's just doing his shit.
What's up, Hollis? You go on. I'm gonna go back and stop those bastards.
We're supposed to be going for help.
You go.
Because that's how it works.
Yeah.
That's realistic.
And I do love it.
Some of it too is kind of like anime in a way. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's a point where because Peter Jackson, you said he's like hung up on the cliff.
Yes.
They're hammering a sword into his foot, which is traditional.
It's like a
I think.
bayonet sword or something. It
I
has a
don't know.
very interesting look to it. That gets pulled out of like
He acts
black
like
hole?
He acts like, well, this is what we're doing now, and you're like, I don't understand anything that's going on here. But he's screaming like a stock sound effect scream that summons his boys. So now it's the boys versus the boys. They do this fight where there's this awesome. That's what I mean by just like fucking moving the camera, just getting close, like this. Everyone shows up with hammers. It's like ridiculous.
They grab
one
it
guy's
like the bad
handing
guy,
out
yeah.
hammers and all this stuff, and even there they choose to be funny. Where like the dumbest of the fake alien blue shirts they call them, because they were like they're all out in blue shirts. I don't know
like
what's
cults.
happening. He grabs like a tiny hammer. It's like a joke. It's like a little like the mosquito, whatever. Men in Black.
Noisy cricket.
Noisy cricket. I'm like, the loud mosquito. I don't know how this works.
I feel like I'm gonna break this damn thing.
And they get all the way down. There's like a fence, and like the barbed wire fence catches the hammer, so you see it like an inch from his face, and then the hammers clack together. And And it feels like those old, like, oh, YouTube video, 3 minutes long of like cool fight scenes in the park or whatever.
Yes.
It feels like those filming things where, again, like you move the camera, you put it like an inch from a guy's face, you put the hammer there, then you pull it away really fast, and then you reverse it or whatever you're doing, whatever goofy shit.
But shot on 16 millimeter, it's so much more impressive.
But they go through every step. They're always getting some extra shots. You know, you would be surprised. Maybe you wouldn't be because you were there staying next to me often. But sometimes you make a movie and you're just like, I'm filming the movie, I guess. And it takes time to be like, wait, no, every scene we have to move the camera and put it there and put it down, put it low, put it high, film past the thing, do something, make it work. And they are putting all that time in every time. Definitely. You can tell nobody was like, I'm hungry, let's leave. They were like, no, we're staying here until we make it all work. And I have a lot of respect for that.
Well, and add on top of that the fact that those are just gardening tools. Those are sledgehammers.
Yeah,
that's a real thing.
Real hammers. Yes, exactly.
I think it's the nerdy guy like almost died. Like one slipped out of someone's hand and like flew past his face and then off that cliff because they are on a cliff too, which is also something that adds to the danger. Now whether it's a 90-degree cliff or not, not 90, like 65. Whatever. It's still a drop.
You could have a bad time.
Exactly.
If you were at work, you would look at your boss like, really?
Hazard pay?
Are you serious? Yeah, and Peter Jackson was.
Yeah. So at that point, when like the nerd guy flips off the cliff, you're like, oh, I guess the nerd guy's dead.
He's dead now.
It cuts to later. There's some joke. Who will take care of his aviary now? And he's like being eaten by birds.
Who's gonna look after his aviary now?
Yeah, birds were the only thing he could relate to.
Did get along with the birds.
Which adds it so much better to when it's like, oh, he's not dead?
It's wonderful.
He's just putting brains back in, taping it up, he's set.
That's so extra. That's so awesome. And to have him use a hat.
Yeah.
And then the belt and stuff.
The faces he makes.
Yeah.
That guy is probably my favorite guy.
Yeah.
Like. Reminds me of the guy from Revenge of the Nerds and Rick Moranis.
Rick Moranis was in Revenge of the Nerds. I'm joking. That's the guy. Once you go nerd, you never return. What does he say? Is that what he says? When he rapes that chick in the moon room.
The pie girl.
It's been a while. I'm a little sketchy on Revenge of the Nerds, but I think I nailed it.
That movie does not hold up in political correctness.
You wait right here. Right here.
Hello, sister. What's happening?
Okay, does it hold up in any other way?
I think it's still funny.
The Moose?
Yeah. Hotel Oral Essex is something I always think of funny. Or Hotel Coral Essex, and they changed it to Hotel Oral Sex.
I like that stupid song.
The nerd rap?
And we are here to do the... When they're doing the whole... Yeah.
Clap your hands, everybody, and everybody clap your hand.
It's no Do the Urkel, but
It's pretty good. Well, it goes on for a long time. People come out and they're like, I'm doing part 2. And you're like, what?
Just clean it, but...
Kind of like the hammer fight sequence. I love there's a part where like he puts a machete through someone's head and that guy has an axe and it drops and he catches that and then he throws a machete and kills Peter Jackson's character.
Oh, I tuned out a lot of that apparently. Damn.
That part was kind of fun.
Great. This is when they're raiding the house, right?
Yeah.
Oh, when he has the machete like in his neck and he's like and doing stuff. Yeah.
His faces in general.
It's awesome.
It's so over the top
his
that
character,
it's wonderful.
His character, does not speak, right?
No.
He was just like, we need someone to be.
Almost none of the characters speak.
We need someone to always be the idiot in every scene and do the things.
I think only the old guy who we see transform, which is pretty good.
The transformations
does
awesome.
any talking.
That shit's done.
It's weird to have almost no dialogue and it not really be a problem. To have no women like in the whole movie, and that's not an issue either.
It fails the Bechdel test. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we see a lot of butt though.
You three, kill them. The rest of you get these bodies on board the ship.
Yeah. Oh, do you mean after they transform?
Oh yeah.
That's my favorite part of them. Why are their butt cheeks poking out? Why are their bony ass butt cheeks poking out?
There's a movie that came out after this where like a guy's pants just get like cut and he gets noticed and then he sells them as fashion-y pants. I think it's called So Fine.
So Fine, a revealing comedy where the end remains to be seen.
And like the pants are that.
The
and I'm like, I think they saw this and they're like, I'll make a movie out of that.
I think it's brilliant and stupid and wonderful. Oh, okay. Talking about filmmaking, they set this up. They do the like shadow, and they just play the noise when like someone goes to get that like Archduke alien, and he's transformed, and you just see his like pig hand. And you hear him rumble, and then he like turns the corner and he's the old guy in the suit. But the shadow was of like a crazy hunched dude or whatever.
They have such a weird look to them.
Yeah, but they like set it up. That's so important. They set up the rocket launcher too, where it's like, we'll not be needing that. And you're like, what's the wooden box in the trunk?
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, I hope it's not a rocket launcher. But this was created so long ago that they didn't have any precedent yet. But the aliens look amazing.
All those missiles in his fucking pockets.
It's great. And he's carrying it around. He's like, oh, right then. Yeah, that's my car. Whole thing. Wonderful. But the aliens. The shoulders, too. They chose these stupid things to be like, that's how we'll show the transformation. You'll get a gut and a face. The faces are like articulating. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, really, but then these pricks try to take us on.
What's
they
going
have a
on?
weird shape to them too.
They do.
That I read something.
These potato men.
The reason they're like that weird, like bent like this is because latex, when you're making, he made all these masks himself.
Yeah.
And you have to cure them in the oven, and in order to fit, he had to bend them, and that's how they have that shape. And it's such a distinctive shape, and it's cool.
It's wonderful because it's on the box, but I just assumed that was some weird, stupid thing that there's like a picture of or whatever. But that's real.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch, and you see more than one on screen at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? It's insane.
So speaking of the box, like we have a box here, and you can see the alien doing a peace sign, and they added a second finger because you couldn't put the middle finger for the American audience.
Oh, that stinks. Well,
yeah,
garbage. Whole thing. Sorry. When they're fighting the aliens, there's a million. They chainsaw through a guy's head. They lop off a piece of the head. They're constantly cutting. Everything is goopy everywhere.
He dives chainsaw first and enters an alien.
Suck my spinning steel, shithead!
That's when he
comes out.
Yeah, that's the finale, right?
And he's birthed.
Yeah, and like that scene too, there's like little quick shots. The eyes are like popping and doing all this great shit and stuff. He wears, it is a suit, but he wears the alien skin as a suit because he's gone crazy now or whatever. He put a little alien brain into his head.
Yes.
Like, I'm running low on brain. And he shoves some in.
I would have loved that to have done something to him.
It made him capable of fighing the chief alien.
I like the reference to The Shining when he does cut that alien. It's like that Here's Johnny moment.
When he sticks his head through, there's a lot of that. And even his friends are like, oh, he's gone mad. Oh, well. And they leave, like, oh, fuck this guy. Yes, it's wonderful. There's a seatbelt, like a car seatbelt.
Oh, yeah.
It's so stupid.
I love there's a bit where he's like...
The house we're talking about.
Yeah, he blows up part of that house, with the book, and he's like, hey, that's a classical homestead, or like something like that.
Jesus, Oz, what are you doing? It's an historical homestead.
Which makes it all the better, because like it's a miniature.
Okay.
And like that just like floats off into the air. Like that is the spaceship. That's so genius.
There was one shot. So like later you see it like way up and I'm like, okay, it's a miniature. There's a shot in the middle. Cause like, okay, at first I thought it was a miniature when like the fake grass is getting pulled in and it's this awesome. That's really well integrated for a miniature, by the way. That's fucking awesome. Then at the end you see the house and there's like a smoke machine and stuff. And I was like, okay. In the middle, there was a shot where I wasn't sure if it was a real house and a smoke machine and a dude just moving like a branch like this to make it look like it was going up into the air. I don't know exactly.
But it almost doesn't matter.
It's so good.
The thing about Peter Jackson is he understands like the fundamentals so well, so like he doesn't need the budget to make something work. And you can see how the man like destroyed Lord of the Rings in the best, like, like I killed that shit. Like, it came out so good because he understands the fundamentals, and you throw money at that, and there's not a problem you can't solve.
It puts all this shit about like the weird split table and all that all those famous things or whatever. It puts them into such context where you're like, oh, he knows. No one on set was like, why are we doing with this table? They were like, oh, no, this is fun. This is gonna be great. Everyone was like, woo! They were high-fiving because he's so like, like,
I would have full
all these
confidence
choices.
in him doing anything.
It's great because just that idea of like, well, we need a shot in the middle here. Oh, well, what if we just moved a branch? I can't do a New Zealand accent, but
why would you want to?
It seemed like they were just like moving the branch because it's just like sky. You can't tell. And in my head, I was like, I don't know if the house or the tree is moving, and that's so beautiful. I think that they probably did just. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, we'll look at it again.
Great. There's a lot of shots like that, though, where you're like, oh, someone thought we needed a little shot. That's what I've been struggling to say the whole time, where it's like, okay, we got it. Wait, can I go back and do one little over the shoulder right as he brings the hammer, so you see, oh, they're dangerous, and a little bing, a little like moment, like in inserts that they get.
That's exactly it. Like, you nailed it by saying, we got it. It's like, you watch a lot of movies, especially around this budget, and it's like, constantly like, oh, they didn't have that. They didn't have that. And this, I don't get that vibe, like, at all, really. I'm like, okay, like maybe you could have done this or buttoned that or whatever, but I'm like, you had it though. Like, structurally, fundamentally, you had every shot, and that's what enables a low budget to work.
I was going one step further, but I do agree with you, is like after you technically have it, they're like, what else can we do to actually make it into a fucking, because so many things you're just like, well, yeah, we saw you running and then you reached for the door and then it cut to the inside and the door was opening and it's fine. But then it's like, wait, what if we could just do one little POV over her shoulder as she goes into the bar? Ooh, now it's a movie all of a sudden, right? A little bit of like, you know, like by itself you'd be like, that's nothing, but it adds up over the course of the whole film, and at the end, even though it was like wood chips and airplane glue, you feel like you watched a movie instead of feeling like, oh, they tried really hard. Maybe someday they'll be able to, you know, make a movie, right?
So you are a person who's more sensitive to sound than I am. Did you have sound issues in this movie?
Not particular. Well, okay, yes, two sound issues.
Okay.
I was gonna say I wasn't gonna bring it up, but you've opened the door for me, and you've also set a trap. So this is gonna be a nice one where I'm not sure where I'm going into this. Some of the dialogue seemed dubbed, but I just assumed it's like cheap.
It's
and
almost
that's
all
fine.
dubbed.
Yeah. So I was like, well, some of it like feels like, oh my god, his mouth.
There's
is not
also a
moving
bit
the
of
right
like
way.
the time period with that.
Yes.
That like you're like, well, it didn't trigger me because that's kind of normal for this.
Yeah, between it being sold and so foreign, I expected that, so I was like, that's fine or whatever. I think the musical choices are baffling and terrible. Sometimes it's like bum bum bum, da-dum, da-da, all these weird little things, and I'm like, that's fine, but they keep using like the exact same thing, and there are some points where it's like, wait, it's a fight scene now, but you're still playing dum bum 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 dum bum bum, dum bum bum.
I would wager, and I don't know any of this for a fact, that it's just limited options based on your budget, and like, it's like, we just need something. Just put that in there. We got this. Good.
No excuse. He hates music.
The sound, though,
I've decided.
Said his camera didn't even have audio jack, so there was like, well, we had to do all that. Then by the end, they had that infusion of money, and they had the ability to run sound, but they just didn't know how to do it. So it's almost all ADR just because it had to be.
Like they didn't know how to do sound on set or whatever.
Like it was recording, but there's an art to capturing sound while filming things. I think they were probably just too far away or not aiming the boom at someone's mouth.
I think for the old guy, I was like, oh, he's like Scottish or something. He can't talk. That's why they have to dub him. Like I had a little headcanon for everything, but I was like, it's fine, whatever.
I'm sure you'll be pleased to be leaving this shitty planet. In the meantime, I must impress upon you the importance of remaining in human form.
Because sometimes it feels like they're cramming dialogue in, but whatever.
And there might be.
The music, though, is inexcusable. That's fine. The Lord of the Rings music sucks, too. Bam! I have no idea what it is. I have no idea.
I like the song that Pippin sings.
Peter Jackson didn't write that.
He did.
It's in the book. At the end.
I don't think so.
No, it's not. I just lied back.
If you flip the pages very quickly, it's like a flip book, but of sound.
It's like a music box where the little tabs make the noise out of paper or something. No, Tolkien would have put it in like the appendice, but it's written in Elvish, then it's translated, and then it's like, okay, Pippin, go.
I liked the car that like the two tougher dudes are driving, the ones that come late. I thought that was cool. The fact that they blew up a car, also huge.
Yes.
Where I'm like, okay. And I actually was I remembered it was coming, and I was like, is it the same car? And I blinked and I couldn't tell.
I love that they had the speakers just in the back seat.
Yeah, like speakers from your living room.
No, those literally, and they have that look too, where they like, clip the thing and crimp it in or whatever, the old wire shit. Yeah.
The walkie-talkies always get me, because like movies always do walkie-talkies where both people are talking like at the same time, and I'm like, unless they're like really fancy government walkie-talkies, that's just not how they work. Like you can't transmit and receive at the same time.
Little polystyrene cups. Yeah. Okay, Derek, just do me one favour. What? Try not to make much stink before we get there. Out.
Yeah, so like 0 out of 10 movie now.
0 out of 10.
Do they talk over each other? Is that an issue?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're like having an active back and forth.
Due to the potentially dangerous hazards involved.
All right. At least you managed to convince the minister.
Whatever.
We can't know that. It's so anticlimactic.
Alright guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to support the show, head over to cannibalvideo.com, pick up some merch.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
That's alright.
Yeah, that's something.
Whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
Oh, I get it. Just in case we kill a lot of innocent people.
Cannibal Video has everything you need. A wide array of VHS and DVDs. We ate the competition.